Okay. There we go. Hi, you guys. It's Salita here. Let me make sure I'm up. So, you guys, oops, I was turning it down. Didn't mean to do that. There we go. Okay. Welcome again to Salita. Um, that's the name of it, Salita. Let's see here. Let's see here. What's this? Oh, okay. Double click. Okay, for the spotlight. Oh, okay, cool. All right. So, welcome back to Salita. That show, I guess you want to call it. I haven't really gave a real good name for it. Oh, I feel it coming on already. My hot flashes. Okay. Well, I want to welcome you to my show. This is just wow. We're going to talk about marriage and how important marriage is. And when you say you want to get married, you got to know that it takes a lot to do that. Okay. And I'm bringing you this, guys, um, because tomorrow, November 2nd, because today is November 1st, tomorrow will be 20 years for me. And this is a big step for me with anything that I do, to stay in something this long. Because my attention span, as they want to say it, my attention span is not really like really always there. But this has been a long time for me. And oh my God, the ups and downs, the miscommunications, the arguments, so much. My husband's in the background. He's so crazy. But it's so much goes into it. And I never thought that marriage, I guess I never thought marriage would be so complicated, so complex, so crazy. Okay. Um, I thought of, I guess, from my perspective, because, yeah, you're right. Um, you wind up on medications and everything you never thought you would take. um, so I, I, um, I never imagined, uh, I never imagined that, that I would be, at this point in my life. It's a full time job, and people have to understand when you do this, this is not for play like that a comedian on YouTube. This ain't for no play. You got to go through some things, y'all. You got to go through some things. Please do not get um, it twisted. It is definitely some serious work, and it takes a lot of compromising. It takes a lot of really introspecting. Sometimes you have to reflect, like really pay attention to what's going on. It took me, um, I got married at 38, okay? And I know things are different now. 20 years later, I'll be 58 on my birthday in February, and my husband will be 67 on his birthday. So there is a like 11-year gap between the 10 year and 11-year gap. Depends on how our birthdays fall. We actually exactly 10 years, or we're 11 years apart. So we had this running joke for the longest about how his age being older than me. But at 38, when I decided to do that, I was scared to death. I will not lie to you guys. I was scared to death. I had come from so many different broken relationships, things that I thought I called love, but it wasn't. Wasn't love at all. It was more of um, some of them were booty calls. I'm gonna be honest with you. Some of them were booty calls, long term booty calls. Um, some of them would have been relationships if I knew what the hell I was doing. Okay. Yeah, at 38, I didn't know what the hell I was doing. At the same time, I was raising a child. So I had to try to prioritize what was important, what was not. Um, I wasn't looking for no father for my kid. I wasn't looking for none of that. That wasn't even on my mind to do, because he was my responsibility. Whether the guy was in my life or not, I still had to take care of that child. I still had to raise that kid. So I never thought that, oh, I'm looking for a father for my kids. You had a father. That's how I look at it. You had a father. You had a dad. You had a father. He just didn't want to stay in the picture. So looking for somebody else to be the father of my child didn't even dawn on me, to be honest with you, because he had a father. Hey, but um, it's a lot of hard work. And I had a friend that I call her a prophetess, that lived in Florida. We met each other when I was at Fort Campbell. I mean, when I was stationed in Fort Campbell. No, it was after I left and came back to Tennessee, and we started going to church together. And so I called her. She was like the first person I could think of to call, and I told her what happened, and I told her how I felt, because I felt that I was not marriage material, and I felt that I wasn't good enough. I really did. I truly thought I was not good enough for anybody to marry me, because of I was broken. I'm gonna be honest with you. I was broken. So many bad things have happened to me during that time period. Well, prior up to that time period. So many things that happened to me. Sexually molestation, rape, a lot of things that happened. So I didn't feel worthy that someone would think I was good enough to marry them. Um, or they were good enough to marry me. I didn't think of myself highly. My self esteem was low. Everything about me was not even, I mean, it was crazy. So she said to me, but she was joking when she said it. When I told her what happened and told her that I met somebody, and that they wanted to get married and everything, she said, "Who want to marry your mean behind?" That was the first thing came out of her mouth, because I told you I had some issues. I had been through some things, and my tolerance level was very, very short. I when I felt that things were not going to work out, I'm like, hey, I got to go. I can't stick around. I got to go. I got to do my own thing. So I would never stay. I would always pack up and go, or not go, but I would just disconnect myself from the relationship is what I basically did. So when I did that, I was fine with that. I mean, that didn't bother me to do. But and when my husband had asked me, he had asked me like 3 times before I actually said yes. Because he actually told me, "You're going to be my wife." He told me that. I was like, "Are you crazy? No, And at the time prior to that, I was already dating somebody. I had been dating this young man for like 3 years. So I was like in that mode of not wanting to get married. I wanted to get married, but I didn't. So that's the reason why I called my girlfriend and asked her, is this a good idea? So as usual, she says, pray about it. And I prayed about it. And I went on and did it. I said, okay, let's look me. I'm like this. Let's try it. Let's see what happens. Yeah. So so we got married. And at first it was a lot of things. See, with marriages, and if I dated my husband prior to us getting married. I dated him. Okay. And people don't show you themselves when you first start dating them. Okay. They do not show themselves. And I learned a lot afterwards. Okay. And it was we had some ups and downs, because I know how I am. And all the bad relationships that I had been in, I never thought to bring that type of problems or situations to my marriage. All of that just went away for me. I mean, I don't know how other people did it, um, but as far as bringing all the baggage that I should have had in my relationship, even with my when be prior to even when I was dating, I didn't bring any of that baggage into those relationships. And I don't know why it didn't happen, but I didn't. I didn't try to be that person that that I don't trust you, you doing me this way, and I can't. I didn't bring all that. That's too much. That was too much. And I had been through a lot with my prior relationships. So when I got into it, I looked at it more like a business. Two business partners coming together to make something happen. And I had to keep that in my mind at all times. This is a business. This is a business. And because that at times that was not good, but at other times it really helped me out. It helped me be able to really kind of hone in on what I thought a marriage was. I mean, it's not like I took a class or anything like that. I got married. And a lot of us take marriage differently. We have our own perspective of what marriage is. And not to say anybody's perception of it is wrong. Everybody has a different outlook on what marriage is. Um, and because of that, um, sometimes that can cause a problem because our perspective might not be what marriage is. Marriage is a partnership. Marriage is something you work at 24 hours a day. It doesn't get turned off. You don't get in the car and drive off and leave it at the office. Marriage is a 24-hour a day, 365 days a week job. You've got to be either halfway on your toes or on your toes, or you're not going to be able to be successful in a good marriage. And because of our different perspective of marriages, we don't really know. Because see, what you might think is a good marriage, I might think, golly, these people are weird. They like to do weird stuff. I've heard people holler at each other, cuss each other out, and you're like, and they're comfortable with it. Hey, that's just the way we talk to each other. But I would look at that and say, like, oh gosh, that is a very verbal abusive relationship, right? Um, or him getting mad if she doesn't sit at the table with him, or just crazy, crazy, crazy things that we think perspective of marriage. How do we see it? And when you talk biblically, um, we don't abide by everything biblical when it comes to marriages. And there's nothing wrong with that because I mean, that's if that's your belief, then that's your belief. Nothing nobody can say can change your belief. That's how you believe. Okay. Um, and everybody doesn't, you know, have a Bible and go by what the Bible says. A lot of people don't. They just don't. And they've made the best of their marriages. And you have marriages that last for a long, long time. Okay. Without all the drama, without all the, but when you got broken people marrying broken people, sometimes that's not good. People say, well, you can heal each other. No, that's not necessarily true because if I don't know how to heal myself, how in the world am I going to help you heal? I have no idea how to heal myself. I don't know where to get the help from. So how am I going to help you? I don't get that concept. Okay. Um, so learning how to make it work is just letting the other person know that there are things you're not going to tolerate. And they have a right to not tolerate things from you too. Um, I know my flaw is my weakness is that I'm sometimes very assertive and I want things done now. And I don't really like a lot of excuses of why and blame everybody else. I don't like that. I know that I have to take responsibility for anything that I do in my marriage. I can't blame Joe down the street. I can't blame Ellen up the road. I got to say my situation, who I am. I got to hold my responsibility and be accountable for anything that I do in my marriage. And I'm fine with that. I'm definitely fine with that. But as I matured in this, because I grew up in this relationship also, because you never stop growing, you never stop maturing. Because there was a lot of things I didn't know about marriage. There was a lot of things that I was clueless on, even though I'm a reader, I'm a researcher and everything. But I didn't I wasn't getting it, you know. And trying to get someone to communicate with you that don't like to communicate, and when you communicate with them, they focus on how you're talking to them instead of paying attention to what you're saying. We do that, we get very touchy and very sensitive and tender is what I call it, when people talk to us a certain way, when in reality it's good to hear what the person's saying and not take it all in as a feeling that you have to feel some kind of way to understand what they're saying. Just take what they're saying. Understand what they're saying. The walls need to be painted. When are you going to paint the walls? Some people like, damn, okay. I mean, to me, I just asked the question, are you going to paint the walls? Are we going to buy a house? We either are, we aren't. What are we going to do with this? When are we going to do that? It's like, to them, they hear a whole different thing. They hear you nagging. And that's a communications problem. That is. Because lots of times, we say men turn, when they start saying you nagging them, they turn off completely because they don't like the way you're saying it. It's not what you're saying, it's how you're saying it. Okay. And so they get turned off real quick. Okay. They will turn off, and whatever it is that you want it done, it will not get done because they don't want it. They want you to talk to them, I don't know, in a certain way. Hey babe, how's your day going? You didn't get a chance to take out the trash this morning. Did you forget it? I guess that would work. I don't know. I guess you got to ask them. So, and then sometimes when you ask them to tell you what's wrong, or why didn't I say it this way, or what, tell me how to say it to you so I can correct myself. So it's, like I said, altogether, a marriage is crazy. Okay. So let's talk about, what does it say about divorce in America as a whole. Since the start of the 21st century, the U.S. marriage rate has declined. Wow, from more than 8 marriages per 1,000 down to 6 marriages per 1,000 population as far as in 2019. In 2020, the proportion of households consisting of married couples fell, golly, to 49%. Wow. Now that's crazy. Oh, wow. Um, let's see. The marriage rate also varied considerably over the years. In the past century, it had declined to around 8 marriages per 1,000 population at the time of the Great Depression, and peaked more than 16 marriages per 1,000 at the close of World War II. But since the start of the 21st century, the U.S. marriage rate has declined from more than 8 marriages per 1,000 population in 2019. The marriage rate is the lowest level since the U.S. government began keeping marriage records for in the country since 1867. Also, 70 years ago, a large majority of U.S. households, approximately 80%, were made up of married couples. In 2020, the proportion of households consisting of marriage couples fell 49%. So, golly. Some of the major factors behind long-term decline in the marriage rate have been female education and the labor force participation, women's economic independence, and gender equality. America is also experiencing growing numbers of women and men living alone, as well as increasing unmarried cohabitation. In addition to the 15% of U.S. adults living alone, no less than 1/4 of those aged 25 to 35 years are living with an unmarried partner. Those numbers are wow. American attitude about childbearing and marriage have also changed markedly. For example, whereas in 2006, about half of US adults said it was very important for couples having children together to legally marry. By 2020, that proportion has fallen to 29%. Today, the proportion of US births to unmarried mothers is about 40%, double the percentage since 1980. Other factors that have contributed to the lower marriage rates are declining religious adherence to marriage. So, your religion, people don't religiously don't want to be married. And more recently, unstable jobs and strained finances, particularly among low income earners and those with only a high school education. Delaying marriage has also played a role in lower marriage rates. So now people are getting married later in life. Um, I'm thinking 38. I was talking to my sister. My sister didn't get married till she was 50. Okay. Um, so yeah, uh, the median ages at first marriage are now 30 years for men and 28 for women, about 8 years higher than the ages in the 1950s. Also, the share of US adults aged 18 to 34 who were married fell from approximately 60% in 1978 to about 30% in 2018. In addition to delaying marriage, records proportions of young US adults are expected to never marry. For example, proportion never married among Americans aged 25 to 50 years old quadrupled from 9% in 1970 to high of 35% in 2018. Some suspect that COVID-19 pandemic may have driven the US marriage rate below the historic low level of 2019. The pandemic's resulting economic and security limited socializing, home confinements, and anxieties about future are believed to have contributed to fewer marriages. Um, I, I I don't know about that. I mean, it was only 2 years. It's only a 2 year difference in what we've been going through, 2 to 3 years. So I don't know if COVID has anything to do with that. I don't know. We always, yeah, okay. It says, for example, marriage numbers from March to September were 33% lower than expected based on, on trends of previous years. The tentative shortfall of US marriages for 2020 is estimated at approximately 340,000 marriages. And this is in Florida, okay? Although marriage rates vary among major social groups in the US, those rates by and large have decreased over the recent past. Black Americans are substantially more likely to be single than whites and Hispanic Americans. 47% versus 28% and 27% respectively. Since 1990, the marriage rate for white, black, and Hispanics have declined by approximately 5, 8, and 9%. Um, respectively, the rates of Asian Americans have maintained largely unchanged. So, as you can see, there is a big difference in the races or the ethnicity of marriage couples. We seem to be the ones who's going to be the lone, and I'm not taking this news like it's the facts. This is basic from some stats that this please excuse me, y'all. I'm sorry. Also in the US, men continue to be more likely than women to have never married. For example, whereas in 1990, the proportion of never married were 30% for men, 23% for women. By 2019, proportion has increased to 35% for men and 30% for women. So marriage across the Americas generally tend to the highest in the western states and the lowest in the eastern states. So out west they'll get married, and out in east they won't. Okay. In 2019, for example, Wyoming, Colorado, Washington, and Utah had the highest rates of no less than 21 marriages per 1,000 women age 15 and over. Okay. At the other extreme, Delaware, Rhode Island, Connecticut, and Vermont had the lowest rates of no more than 12 marriages per 1,000 age 15 and over. The decline in marriage rates is not unique to America, but also occur in OECD, I don't know what that means, countries, whereas in 70 OECD countries had rates between 7 to 10 marriages per 1,000. Near the close of the century, the rates declined to around 5 or 7 marriages per 1,000. In the many countries, the rates continue to decline. So we're realizing that a lot of people are not getting married. A lot of people are comfortable not being married. Wow. And this came from The Hill. Oh, wow. Thank you. Got somebody told me happy anniversary. Let's see who this is. Okay. Thank you. I'm sorry, you guys. I wanted to answer them right here. Yeah. So, um, okay, got you. Yeah. So, uh, people are not getting married. That's weird, huh? And that that's scary. I mean, in a way, that's real scary. So I want to also let me look at this. Um, Trend reports, world largest trend. Okay, I like to talk about what um marriage consists of. What do you think marriage consists of? What what is the example of excuse me, a oops, let me see. That's not what I wanted. Let's see. Okay. Um, what do you think about marriage? I mean, how do you see marriage and how important it is for you to get married if you're not married? And are you looking? I mean, think about it like that. Do you think that it's important um, that we get married, that we stay married? Um, how do you have a happy marriage? Um, what is an example of a good marriage? Since they're saying that we have issues with marriage, but it's not even just America now, it's across the world. um what do we do? I mean, how do we um get to the point where we can make that we can last 5, 10, 15, 20 years in a marriage? What do we do? um and let me say this: when I talk about marriage, and I don't want to, marriage is marriage, no matter who you're married to and what you're married to. It's still marriage, and it does take work, and it does take you understanding. All of that plays a bigger part um, in how we um, see things, how we say, okay, marriage is not, and I we tell my sister this all the time. We have this mindset, or we have this perception of what marriage is: white picket fence, kids, dog, sitting outside drinking lemonade on the front porch, playing catch with the kids, swimming in the swimming pool, and everybody's having fun. And we don't talk about how did that foundation start. We go to that. We don't look at what started that. What brought these two people together? What made these two people want to build a life together? Um, what jobs contribute to them being able to live in a nice home with the white picket fence and the pool and the slide and the tree houses. What created this? Where did all of this come from? It had to come from something. It had to come from someone who really, really believed in the person that they're with. And that's something we have a habit of not doing. We get with people and we don't believe in them. We tear them down. Yeah. Um, we don't we don't treasure or protect them so that they continue to be the person they are that can turn around and help and protect you. We don't, and I don't want to sound so negative, but I think we need to talk about this when it comes to marriage. And I'm not knocking anybody who decides not to get married. Um, that I don't want that to be a reason why you don't want to hear what I'm saying, because cohabitation in common law is like being married. Okay. I am just a person like this. I don't believe, I don't think, I think I'm worth more than you shacking with me. That's just me, because some people have a different way of looking at things. I think I'm worth more than a shack. hmm I think since you decided that you want to be with me in that way, I think I'm good enough for you to put a ring on my finger and marry me. Yeah. Or put papers on me, like that song, You Got Papers on Me. I mean, I think I'm, and that's what they say, that's all America is actually. On paper is just a paper. You're bound to this person. No, I think it's more of a, just like your social security number, something you need. I mean, if you're with that person, then that's what um you want to, you want to be with, and you want that to work out. Some people have wonderful marriages, what we would perceive as wonderful marriages. They get along, they make stuff happen, they don't argue, they don't do a lot of arguing, fighting. They disagree because everybody disagrees, but they don't do it to the point where um it's hard for them, that they can't get along or they can't fix what's wrong, or get help, because lots of times we don't even try to get help to find out what's going on with our marriages. We just go through the motions. One or the other, one person or the other needs to talk to somebody, and you can bring that information back, Um, excuse me, I'm sorry. Um, and jobs, finances seem to be the number one thing um that actually um hurts marriages, is not controlling or have a control over finances. And if there is a problem, you need to be able to be mature enough to work that problem out with your finances. And sometimes people are not willing to do that. And then so we sit up and we cry and we moan and we complain about our partners not being financial savvy. You knew he wasn't financially savvy when you got with him. hmm That's where the business mindset comes in. Your finances, you want them to be working, you want them to be plausible, you want to be able to do what you need to do with your finances. And sometimes that's not easy. Um, Sometimes you have to I look at it from the standpoint, my husband retired. Um, he's had 5 major surgeries on his body. Yes, 5 major surgeries. Let me see. I got to count them. Yes, exactly. 5 major surgeries on his body, and he's still here. And that's a blessing. And I told him, you have no idea how blessed you are to still be here, And you're here for a reason. He's got you here, or she's got you here for a reason. The creator has you here for a reason. It's something he wants you to experience, or something he wants you to see. That's why you lasted as long as you have after 5 major surgeries. Okay. life-threatening surgeries that he's had. Um, and he's still here. So he's here for a reason. Through the ups and downs, um, you have to come to a point. You do. You have to come to a point. When you're young and you don't know what you're doing and you get married and you fight through it and you make it through, good for you. It's not. I'm not disclaiming you at all. Good for you. You were able to make it through. But a lot of people don't make it through. A lot of people have a lot of issues that they came in with the marriage and they want to leave out with the marriage. Some people have to understand that it's all right not to be married. You know, it's all right. I'm serious. It's all right not to be married. It's nothing wrong with that. Matter of fact, that's what I just read to you from the Hill is that that's what's happening. The statistics um, of divorce, the numbers are low. People are not jumping the broom. People are not having these big old weddings, and people are not doing that right now. Okay. And COVID probably has a lot to do with that, but I think it's just the person. I think it's the person themselves that decide that they don't want to be married. Um, and it's not all necessarily that we don't have enough um, men. It don't necessarily have to be like that. It could be more that men prefer, and we talk about the percentage of men prefer not to be married. We're still trying to get married, and some men are like, you know what, I'm just gonna stay single. I'm gonna stay to myself. I gotta share this. I don't want to do all that, and you got to deal with that woman. The drama. I don't want to do all that. I'm good. I'm good. And if you're already cohabitating with them, you're already living, shacking, whatever you want to call, with them already. He's comfortable. He don't. I mean, he don't need to get married if we already doing all this now. Why get married? What is that for? We save on money. We ain't got to worry about a whole bunch of people in our business. So they've been thinking about a lot of reasons why they're comfortable just living together. Um, but I'm not a condonist of that at all. I don't condone um them living together, a man and woman living together. I just feel that and it doesn't, in my perspective, this is just my opinion, and it might not be the same for other people. In my opinion, I should be worthy of a ring. And not to say, oh, you want a big fancy ring. It has nothing to do with the ring itself. The symbolism of the ring is what I'm talking about. I deserve that. Okay. Um, and if you don't think I'm worthy of that, then you might not be the person I want to be with. Yeah. If you don't think I'm worthy of a ring, then I don't, and I'm not talking about an engagement ring, I'm talking about a wedding band. If you don't think I'm worthy of that, then I'm not, I can't see it. Okay. I can't see it. I'm sorry. I can't see it. And you know, everybody do things differently. Everybody has a different perspective on marriage. I am just saying, make sure that you're paying attention to how we see things when it comes to getting divorced, being in a marriage. If you feel that you're unhappy and you can't work anything out, then don't do it. Um, Here's some relationship facts everyone should know before they get married. And it's weird, these these different articles and these blogs are coming from like marketplace. Okay. Nothing everyday health is, I mean, I could see that conversation coming from there. But Business Insider did this article called Relationship Facts Everyone Should Know Before Getting Married. I just thought that was kind of weird, right? So I think I kind of talked about this on my other show. Um, it says 18 relationship facts everybody should know before getting married. So this is before the marriage. Okay. This is all before the marriage. Okay. I think this is going to be funny. Okay. Hold up. Okay. Before you do Consider the large and growing body of scientific research on relationships. What strengthens and weakens them, and what predicts long term success versus dissolution. Okay. So let's see here. Uh, okay, it says in 2014, University of North Carolina in Greensboro, study found that American women who cohabitate or get married at the age 18 have 60% chance of getting divorced. But women who wait until 23 to make either of those commitments have a divorce rate of 30%. The longer couples waited to make that first serious commitment, cohabitation, or marriage, the better their chances for marital success. Okay, so the longer you wait to get married, the longer the marriage is going to last. Now, you got to look at people's age. When you talk at age, not to say everybody's immature when they're in their 18, 19, 20. I'm not saying that, because you have a lot of immature grown people, real grown people out there. I'm talking about them still not experiencing life themselves, not knowing how to handle life themselves, and they go get married. So you got two people together that do not know how to handle life, you know, and not just knock anybody saying that you're not experiencing life and everything. I'm just saying basically, what do I need to do next? How do I know how to do that? You don't have that, because people get married for many, many different reasons. It says honeymoon phase doesn't go on forever, because that's where we at. We love each other. We want to be around each other. We get upset if the other one is not around. We calling each other and all that. Y'all don't understand. That's a waste of time. I'm just letting you know. All of that is not even necessary. But I understand you're young and you're in love. Okay. Let me put that over there. So now you're at the point where you like, okay, you're not mature enough to really enjoy your marriage, and before you know it, you're getting divorced. And then now you get married at 20. Okay, you wait 3 or 4 years later and you get married again. So now you have all these marriages up under your belt, but you're still not happy. So then you got to look within and see if it's you. You're miserable because of what? You're miserable not only because you don't accept a lot of things other people would accept in a relationship. You're miserable because you have to work on yourself. That's where it comes from. Your misery comes from you not being able to work on yourself so that you won't keep making these same mistakes over and over again. You guys, I am so sorry. I am not even tired. I don't know where these yawns coming from. Okay. It says, according to a 2005 study by the University of Pavia in Italy, it lasts about a year. So he's saying that the honeymoon phase lasts for about a year. After that, the level of chemicals called nerve growth factors, which is associated with the intense romantic feelings, start to fall. They start like, okay, after first year, okay, all right. Um, uh, let's see. Um, what is it? Exactly in love, feelings start to fade, but it does so for good evolutionary reasons, because it's very metabolical, metabolical. I can't even say the word. Metabolically broccoli. Excuse me, expensive to spend an awful lot of time focusing on just one person in that high anxiety state. So they're saying it's hard, it's not good to, when you're in the honeymoon phase, you're always, oh, you want to be around the person. They're saying it's not good to stay that way. So because you're concentrating on this one person through the whole thing, it becomes very expensive. It's expensive to expend an awful lot of time focusing on just one person. Okay. Now, it says back in the 50s and 60s, Canadian psychologist Eric Byrne introduced a 3-tier model for understanding a person's identity. He found that each of us have 3 ego states operating at once. Didn't realize that. The parent, what you've been taught; the child, what you have felt; And then the adult, what you have learned. When you're in a relationship, you relate to your partner on each of those levels. It says the parent, do you have similar values and belief about the world? The child, do you have fun together? Can you be spontaneous? Do you think your partner's hot? Do you like to travel together? And then the adult is, does each person think the other is bright? Are you good at solving problems together? While having some symmetry across all those three is ideal. People often get together to balance each other out. Okay. For instance, one may um, be a nurturer and the other might like to play. It says in the 2014 National Bureau of Economic Research study find that marriage does indeed lead to increased well-being, mainly thanks to friendship. So if you have a friendship first, there's a great chance that you guys will have a healthy marriage because there's already an understanding being established. Okay. It says controlling for premarital happiness. The study concluded that marriage leads to increased well-being, and it does so much more for those who have a close friendship with their spouses. Friendship, the paper found, is a key mechanism that could help explain a casual relationship between marriage and life satisfaction. So you got to know that being with a person that you love, you like hanging out with, you like doing stuff with, is a way of knowing that there's a possibility that you have a healthy marriage. Um, I'm not into having my husband as my best friend. I know that people do that, and I don't need nobody else in my life but my husband. Y'all gotta stop that. That is so not true. Okay. And it might work for some people. I'm not knocking it. But it doesn't work for everybody. It doesn't. I'm glad I have a couple of girlfriends. I don't have a lot of people. I don't hang out. I don't go places. I don't do any of that. But I do have people I can call and talk to, and that's a good thing. And that's fine with me. I just the reason why I know that I can't sit up and talk to my husband and be my husband's friend 24/7 because we don't have the same thing in common. Okay, the only thing we have in common is the marriage, and then we have some personality traits that might be in common, but overall he's a man, I'm a woman, so we are going to have different perspectives. So how can we make him the best friend? I don't know, maybe we can. I don't know. It says a study of 3,000 Americans who have ever been married found that age discrepancies correlate with frictions in marriages. Wow, didn't know that. A 1 year discrepancy in a couple's ages, the study found, makes them 3% more likely to divorce when compared to the same age counterparts. A 5 year difference, however, makes them 18% more likely to split up. And a 10-year difference makes them 39% more likely. Wow. So I'm in the 39% because, let me see, he's 11 years older than me. So, yeah. Okay. That's interesting. In multiple studies, it says couples that actively celebrate good news rather than actively or passively dismiss it have had a higher rate to relationship well being. Now, our marriage went through a transition, a major transition. Okay. A lot went on that had to be addressed, talked about, explained, and now, like I said, our marriage had went through a major transition. Um, and I'm like this: if it's something I want, I'm going to work at it and get it, and I want to keep it. If it's something I know I will never do this again, and so my desire to make sure that it lasts as long as it can, despite some of the hiccups, we're still rocking and rolling. Matter of fact, it's better now because of the major transition that we went through. And it makes it better. It does. I have a different perspective of marriage. I respect marriage more than I used to. We can't take things for granted in a relationship, because a lot of us do. We take things for granted when no, reality will kick you in the ass. Excuse my language. Reality will kick you in the ass, and you're going to say, wait a minute, that's not how it is. Okay. It says, for example, if a wife comes home to her partner and shares an accomplishment, an active construction response would be the best. However, according to Amy Gordon, a social psychologist at the University of California at Berkeley, an active constructive response from the partner would be enthusiastic support. That's great, honey. I knew you could do it. You've been working so hard. Now, let me say this. My husband has said that to me before. I'm a type person where I'm always learning something, I'm always doing something different. And so lately, in the just not too long ago, I studied to take my state exam for my license for my insurance to be able to sell and solicit for insurance, right? And I even had extra time. I did everything because it was in the middle of so much going on in my life. And I'm trying to study and I'm trying to take care of other personal stuff that's going on. And I had to get me extra time. I had to get extra time on the class to make sure I got everything. And then I went and took the test, and I was scared to death. I'm telling you guys, I was scared to death because one thing I'm not a good test taker. I'm a great study. I can study my behind off, but when it comes to taking a test, it's not the same for me. So I get in there, and when I came out, she said you passed, and I was like crying because I was like, if you only knew, and that's all I could tell her. If you only knew what I've been going through for the last 2.5 months. Yeah, it was about 2 months, about a month or 2 months. And if you only knew what I was going through, on top of trying to study for this class, I have a stack full of flashcards. I created my own flashcards by answering every question and going back and studying it and going over it and taking the test because you can actually take a simulated test. So I'm taking these tests over and over and over and over and over again because I was like, I gotta pass this test. I'm not trying to get no high score. I just want to pass it. And when I came out of that, I was like, oh my God, I cannot believe that. But the situation after that, I was going to go celebrate and do something nice for myself. That didn't happen because there was another crisis going on in the midst on the very same day that I passed my test. There was a crisis going on in the family. So, and like I said, my husband's been very supportive of me, very supportive. Um, and he's like, I'm so glad you passed your test. Good. That's great. That's great. He's always been supportive after the fact. He's been there. I mean, all the time, everything, because some of the things I was doing, I was like, okay, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do this. And I would do it. I would actually succeed. And he's just like, okay, what else you gonna try? Because he knows that's the type of person I am. See, and he learned that early on in the marriage that I'm a type person where I try different things. I'm not a person to stick to one thing. I'll try different things. And he supported me. He supported me when I opened up a business, a pillow business, where I was actually selling pillows. He was actually going to the festivals with me. We'd load up my F-150 and we'd go out and do all that. We did that, and he really enjoyed that. And from time to time, he talks about me doing my pillows. I stopped doing them. See, but having that support it's good. It's not like you have to have their support, because if you're a type person where you've always done things on your own, you know. So I tell him now, my new saying is, I'll work around you, because there's no need to argue and get mad, and I'll work around you. You'll come around eventually, but I'm going to work around you in the meantime. And that's my new motto for myself and for our relationship, because sometimes, he has his own way of doing things and I have my own way of doing things. We come together and work it out. If we can't, we just move on to the next thing. So that's why I said, I'm not going to, I'll say something, but okay, that's all right. I'll work around you. and you'll connect eventually. And I'm telling you, it's more of a peaceful. We have so much of a better relationship the older we've gotten, and this new transition we're in, making a solid decision on what we're going to do in the future, and just looking forward to that. And that's where we're at now. And I'm in a happy place now, and that's a good thing, because that's not always, you have people who get divorced over silly stuff like, um, he didn't wash the dishes enough, or I'm not attracted to him no more, or he's gotten fat, or she's gotten fat and I don't want to be with no fat person. Just crazy stuff. Her hair done fell out. Many wigs we got around here, get her hair done. Okay, if her hair fell out, then take her to a beauty salon and let somebody do something with her hair. Come on now. We let society pick and choose who we're going to be with and how we're going to be with them. That's what we do a lot of times, and that's why a lot of these marriages don't work, is because that's what we do. We allow society to tell us how our marriage is going to be. um, you can't go by that. You really can't. Traditional marriages are not the same anymore. You just got to know, when you get into a marriage, you have to work. People become successful when they work together, when they work as a team, um, to make things happen. It cannot be a one sided thing. There's a lot of things that my husband can do, I can't do. But if he asks me to help him, guess what? He's going to show me how to do whatever that is that I don't know how to do. And if I have issues with doing it, then he's going to continue showing me, because I would do the same thing to him. Because if we really going to work together, we're going to work together. There's things that I know how to do that he doesn't know how to do. No need for me to get mad at him about it because he don't know how to do it. I need to show him how to do it. I mean, that's what you have to do in a marriage. You can't get mad and start, oh, forget it. No, you got to work it out. Because if it has a goal, an end goal, whatever that project or whatever that task or mission you guys are on, if it has an end goal, you need to work it together and make it happen. That's all. You got to. You got to. If you want your marriage to work, communication is a big thing. We have issues with communicating. Somebody always shuts down. Now, I'm the type of person, if we do argue and it's not going anywhere, I'm going to be quiet. I shut down. I do. I don't know, does that, it doesn't help through the whole marriage, but it helps when you just take a moment, because sometimes you have to do that inner, always go in. Whenever you do that, go in. See how you can, if you say something else, see how it comes out. Like if we're talking about something and we disagree, and it might come out where I'm mad or frustrated, or he's mad or frustrated. We find ourselves, and it's habitual to say, I apologize. And it's not, I think it's not always that we really mean we apologize, because we keep doing that same thing. I think it's just the word we use. To say, you know what, I need to work on that. Or I didn't mean to say it like that. I hope um, understand I didn't really mean to say it to you like that. We find other ways of saying. I think saying I'm sorry is just the easy way of saying that. Instead of using other words, you know what I'm saying? Because it's something that you really don't have to be sorry for. Just like I just get frustrated sometimes and it comes out wrong. Okay. I didn't mean it that way. Matter of fact, earlier today we were in a discussion, and I know I sounded like I was frustrated and teed off, but in reality, I found myself saying, I apologize. I'm not mad at you, or I'm not upset with you. Um, I just want such and such to happen. So if I could say that to him, he understands that. And I understand when he says it to me. But I know we shouldn't always use the word I'm sorry, because I'm sorry is just it's a word we go to when we don't know how else to explain how we're feeling at that moment when we're talking or when we're discussing something. Because I'm sorry is being just like the word I love you. I love you is used all the time. It's overused, and we say that is it's like a cover up for something else. We should say we should be straight point, straight to the point, and you know um and getting our point across, because you're telling me you love me, but I'm noticing the pattern that you use all the time, constantly, over and over again. So how can you love me if you continue doing the same thing over and over again? You can't love me, say I love you, and cussing me out and degrading me and harassing me and molesting me with words or verbally abusing me, and then say I love you. I don't understand that language. I mean, when you get older, I guess you just, I don't understand that. I don't know what that means when you say that to me. Or just don't use that. Don't say that to me. I mean, I'm not being mean or nothing. Just don't use those words, I love you, because you keep saying that, but you're doing the same thing over and over again. So to me, that doesn't make any sense. It's not going to get a different result. That's insanity, because it's the same result. I'm still hurt. I'm still feeling bad. I'm still not myself because you just bawled me out and then you turned around and say I love you. Y'all, that don't make no sense. Okay. So moving on. So I just wanted to kind of let you guys know that our relationship is like anybody, not like anybody else's. Because I think like I said, everybody has a different perception of what marriage is. A marriage is not you disrespecting me, um, saying what you want to me, degrading me, and it goes vice versa. Same thing with me. It's not. That's not what a marriage is about. Mm-mm. And I love laughing. I love making people laugh. And me and my husband, you have no idea. We make each other laugh, and that helps out a lot in a marriage. Is being able to laugh at each other when we do crazy things, and we do stupid things. I did something this morning. He was out mowing the lawn on the riding lawnmower, and I was messing with him this morning. I kept calling him, and I made him look at me. Just crazy things I could do to him, and he'll just bust out laughing because that's how I am. You have to keep that laughter up no matter what you're going through. You got to keep the laughter up. You got to be funny. All that seriousness, I could not be in a serious marriage. I could not be in a marriage where a man does not laugh and smile. That would drive me nuts. That would be, for me, that would be what's the name, grounds for me to be divorced. I cannot stand a person who does not laugh and have a good time and make fun of yourself from time to time. Make you or whatever your marriage is, okay? You make your marriage just the way you want it, okay? Don't look for anybody else to come into your marriage and make it better. It's all you, okay? Definitely all you. Okay, we're going to go ahead and come out of here in just a few minutes. I want to go ahead and get this done. Again, it's called businessinsider.com, talking about how relationships are 18 steps to a relationship, 18 steps to the relationship prior to marriage. Okay. It says an active, constructive response from the partner would be enthusiastic support. That's great, honey. I knew you could do it. You've been working so hard. Okay. A passive, constructive response would be a warm smile and simple, that's good news. Okay. All right. An active, destructive response would be, does that mean you're going to be gone working even longer hours now? Are you sure you can handle that? Okay. Finally, a passive destructive response would say, oh, really? Well, you won't believe what happened to me on this drive home today. So it's just like they totally dismissed you. Hold up, I'm sorry. They totally dismissed your good news for their good news, okay? Or for something that was happening to them. It says over 60% of Americans in one poll said that taking care of chores playing a crucial role in having a successful marriage. It's not you, it's the dishes. Co-author Paula Schutzman recommends a system where each person specializes in chores they're best at. Exactly. My husband used to be a maintenance man / janitor. Okay, did janitor, custodian. Okay, there's a lot of ways he can clean that I can't clean because I don't have that training. I don't know how to do it. Not, but I can clean my behind off if I need to. But it's certain things that he knows how to do that I don't know how to do. And has he shown me? Yeah, he's shown me. But if that's his comfort zone, I don't mess with it. We take turns washing dishes. We take turn cleaning up the house, cleaning up the bathroom, cleaning up everything. He does a lot of the yard work. I don't do a lot of yard work because that's not me. But he does a lot of yard work. Now, if it gets to the point where he can't, then I would have to step up to the plate and do the yard work. But overall, he does all the yard work. But again, and he washes the hell out of clothes. Okay, he can wash some clothes, dishes. He cooks. Okay, and he does everything. I don't have to really worry about that with him. Uh, Now, even when he's sick and he's gotten a lot better, but he still has his moments. I don't bother him when he gets his moments. I let him do his thing, but in the meantime, I continue doing what I have to do, and take over where he can't do a lot of things. When he gets like that, and I'm fine with that. We don't take turns necessarily. We definitely just do what has to be done. Um, and like I said, when your marriage is at a point where, and he's retired, so he doesn't have to do anything if he don't want to, but he's like me. We don't sit still. Okay. We have to be doing something. His is a little bit slower, and his is more of he has to plan it. It's not jump up and get stuff done like it used to be. We used to be because of him. Still, it'll be a year now since his massive heart attack, and his bypass surgery. So it's a little bit different. His When I say bypass, I'm talking about his heart. Um, so he's had 2 heart attacks. He's, like I said, life-threatening surgeries. He's had 5 of them. So I don't force him. I don't fuss at him as like I used to about getting certain things done that I want done. I'm saying my honeydew list, his honeydew list. I don't push it as much because we kind of on the we're on the downstroke now, and we can take our time. We can get things done, and we've been very progressive and putting together a list of stuff that we know we need to get done, and we're doing it little by little, making things happen. And that's what we have to do. We can't rush it. We get frustrated, but we understand that we have to work it out and get it done. And that's where I'm at. Um, and I'm sorry I keep talking about me because I'm talking about my marriage. Because hey, this is my anniversary. This is the eve of my anniversary. If you're really better at dishes than remembering to call the in-laws, then that should be your job. It'll take you less time than it'll take him, and it'll take him less time to have a quick chat with mom than it would take you, which means in the end, you've saved quite a bit of collective time. So you switch up. If he's better off talking to the in-laws, then you let him talk to the in-laws, get whatever get done while you're doing something else. My mom, his mom and dad are both gone. I only have a mom, and my mom is in a rehabilitation center in Georgia. This past weekend before last weekend, we drove to go see her, which was wonderful. And we enjoyed ourselves. We had a good time. We stayed 3 days. In those 3 days, we had a wonderful time. We really did. Just sometimes you got to get away from your own element to sometimes enjoy each other. So we did that, and the drive he drove there and back. He didn't want me to drive. I don't know why. He drove there and back, and then like for 2 or 3 days, he has to rest. I don't fuss with him because I know when he takes those long trips, I know how it does him. It can very much so wipe him out. So I don't bother him. I don't fuss with him. I don't tell him he has to do anything. For about 2 or 3 days, he lays up and get that rest off. So, I mean, you learn that. And then we're two older people. Okay. I'm not going to say we're old, but we're older. So it take us a little bit. So we're kind of slow now. But anyway, so so we're at a point where, okay, it says, let's see, institutional marriage from the nation's founding until 1850, the the com- companionate marriage was from 1851 to 1965. Self-expressive marriage, it was from 1965 to onward. It says before 1850, couples got hitched for the sake of food, shelter, and protection. Then, with the Industrial Revolution, people had more leisure time um, uh, to start looking for companionship in our partners. The 60s brought a yearning for personal fulfillment through relationships, which we continue to strive for today. It says a 2009 study led by researchers at the University of Denver found that most couples move in for other reasons besides test driving their relationship before marriage. But couples who did report testing the relationship were more likely to experience a number of negative emotions. For example, among testers, men scored higher on measures of depression and anxiety. Wow. And women scored higher on measures of abandonment and anxiety. So, um, men suffered from anxiety and depression, and women from abandonment. Wow, both groups were less confident in the relationship. Okay, I don't think being abandoned was a big thing for me. I'm just me. Okay. In 2016 Psychology Today column, one of the study's authors explained what these findings meant. It seems to us that many people who think about testing their relationship by cohabitating already know on some levels what the grade of that test may be. They are hoping that the answers look better over time. Wow. Contrary to popular belief, cheating isn't necessarily more common among high earning couples. The link between income and infidelity is more nuanced than that. So, if they're high income people, they don't cheat as much, according to this study, as people who are middle class or low income. It's a research from University of Connecticut suggests that people who are economically dependent on their spouse is more likely to be unfaithful, and that's especially true for a man who relies financially on a woman. Wow. Interestingly, when women are the breadwinners, they're less likely to cheat. When men are the breadwinners, they're more likely to cheat. Wow. Mm. That's why you don't let them be the breadwinners. Y'all both make that money. Bring that money in, okay? You can't trust anyone except your boo, right? And that's what they're saying, which we know that's not true. Huh? In 2015, University of Calgary study found that heterosexual undergrads think the average member of an opposite sex has about 40% chance of cheating on their partner. But those same participants said their own partner had only a 5% chance of cheating. The rate at which participants said they'd ever really cheated on their partners is at 9%. Wow. Um, In one University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill study, researchers had participants keep private daily diaries in which they recorded things their partners had done for them and how it had made them feel. As it turns out, couples who were more grateful toward each other felt that the relationship was stronger. Yes, if you're grateful for your partner, because we can become very ungrateful real quick. Some of us are ungrateful, period. It's part of our personalities and we're not trying to change them. So we automatically whine and complain about every doggone thing. We don't find happiness in nothing. No matter if he get on top of the roof and fly off, and he's flying to go get you some dinner and he fly back, it won't be good enough. She'll say it's cold, or he say it's cold. You know, they're sick and they still go and get you whatever you need. Oh, you didn't have to do that, but I'm glad you did, but you forgot this. You know, anything. You know what I'm saying? Ungrateful, just straight up ungrateful. Okay, as though you have to do it for them. Okay. Meanwhile, another series of studies led by researcher at University of California, Berkeley, found that more grateful couples were more likely to still be together 9 months later if they're just living together, cohabitating. So they're more likely to stay together. Okay. You have to appreciate the person you're with. You have to. You ain't got no other choice. You have to. And you should. I mean, no, I ain't gonna say you have to. You should want to appreciate that person. It says once you start living together, you may realize that you have different priorities and tolerances. Like, for instance, what does he, what does or doesn't constitute a mess? People have to come to terms with the reality that we really are different people. We're not the same. You are different from who I thought you were or wanted you to be. We have different ideas, different feelings, different interests. It's a stressful and necessary evolution. Um, you don't always have to live with the person prior to you getting married to them. You know that, right? And like I said, most of the time people come together as one because financially it helps out. Okay. It's cheaper that you both have one bill opposed to all the bills. That might be a reason why. Um, it's a financial move sometimes. It's not always necessarily always like that. But lots of times it's a financial move. And you might feel like you're better off with that person because you're trying to build something with that person, you know. Um, and then other times it doesn't always turn out so great. Okay. Business let's see. Uh a Carnegie Mellon study on the link between how often you have sex with your partner and how happy you are. Researchers split a bunch of heterosexual married couples into two groups. For 90 days, half continued with their normal sex schedule and half had sex twice as often. When the researchers measured how each group felt at the end of the experiment, the group that had doubled their sex frequency was, in fact, slightly less happy. Hmm. As the lead researcher behind the study said, if you want to be happy, focus on quality over quantity. Okay. The quality of the sex opposed to how many times you do it. That makes it better. Wow. Okay. Okay. Couples who marry mostly because of love are much happier on average, according to a 2019 survey 2000 conducted of 2000 conducted by a matchmaking site, which is eHarmony, you guys. Okay. Over half of respondents also said marriage would make their relationships happier. It's also found that happy couples tend to agree on matters of politics. Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes they do, not always, because we were bumping heads a little bit about politics. But overall, we got the same concept. We think of the same concept. Get similar levels of education and believe in open communication. Yes. Okay. Definitely. Okay. You know what I didn't do? I'm trying to see something. What did I miss here? Oh, he was talking about the cheating. Okay. Okay. Be prepared to adapt as people's opinions and behaviors can change over time because that happens. You change just as much as your spouses change every day. That's right. A man who has been married for 15 years, when asked if his marriage was secret, he said his happy, I guess, his secret to marriages. He said, when your spouse changes in a way that seems at odds with how you live your life, it's your life that's affected, and it's your life you can change to adapt. Be ready and willing to adapt, or be ready to have some arguments over and over again. And always remember, it's almost guaranteed that your spouse is adapting every single day to the changes that they see in you. That is so true. So you have to be willing to accept those changes. Make sure, I mean, if they're positive and there are changes that are going to help the relationship, because uh, it's going to be a benefit to the relationship. Yes, definitely. But if there are changes, both of you guys are going through changes and they're not good, then you need to definitely look at that. Okay. Excuse me. I'm sorry. Again. You need to talk about your partner's social media habits before getting married. They say you need to. I don't know why. A relationship expert and marriage counselor that there's been a recent spike in the number of couples fighting over their partner's social media use. Now, my husband knows that I do a lot of things. He's not always on social media. He doesn't do it as often as I do, because of the businesses and the things that I do, or the my my radio presence has a lot to do with me being on social media, like I'm on social media now. I have a YouTube channel, I have Instagram, I have um Facebook. I have all those, and I have several groups in Facebook that I do, pages and stuff. So I'm very, very active on social media. I'm not as much as I used to be, but I do have certain things I do on Facebook and Instagram and all those. Overall, um, he doesn't really have anything to do because he knows this is what I love doing. And I'm not trying to, I don't take anything from him, time or nothing. He's retired, so we can hang out anytime. And I only do this in blocks. I'm not always on social media. I only do this at certain times. Now, we both sit up and we lay up and laugh on TikTok, man, all night long sometimes. Okay. And he watches movies and stuff. So we do a lot of that as far as social media goes. We do a lot of that, but together. But overall, no, I do social media. Social media has a purpose for me. I have my website and all that, so I do a lot of that. These couples tend to be younger and get upset at the amount of time their partners spend scrolling and posting on social media. They also get upset if a loved one keeps in touch with their exes using Instagram or other platforms. Um, and I'm interested in. I want to talk about this. We're not going to talk about this tonight. We can talk about this again, because I want to address that. I definitely want to address that. It says a study of 1,310 married individuals published in Journal of Family Economic Issues found that materialism, or putting high value on money and possessions, is associated with lower marital satisfaction. In other words, if you and your partner want to be happier, it's important to focus on the things in life that can't be bought, like quality time and good conversation. Yes, that is so true. But we are some materialistic people. We're definitely, we got to have the best of the best. We got to have this name and that name, and no, we don't have to do all that. Okay. Um, so let's see here. Let's see. Okay. All right. So we're gonna stop right there. So I hope I didn't go all over the place. I hope you understood what I was saying. I hope you understand this was about me, and my husband was about my husband and I. Let me say it like that. About us celebrating our 20th anniversary tomorrow, and just enjoying, relaxing. Oh, I want to show you the champagne. What did I do with this champagne? I'm gonna go get the champagne that I got for us, and he's gonna make me a seafood gumbo because he knows I love gumbo. Okay, and no, I'll show it to you tomorrow. Yeah, I'll show it to you because I have to get up. I didn't think to bring it, but so we're gonna just have a beautiful, nice dinner at home quietly. We're not going anywhere. We're just gonna enjoy the day um, to ourselves. So I'm excited about that. I really am. Because it is a milestone to do 20 years. It is a milestone. Okay. And I hope anybody out there who's listening and you're in a relationship and you're getting married, you guys enjoy yourselves. Everybody's marriage is not going to work out. You just got to know. You got to know what you're going to do, what you're going to put up with, what you're going to tolerate. You got to know that. And women are coming to a point where a lot of things that mom and dad tolerated, we're not going to do it. We just don't do it. We just don't do it. Because there are ways of getting out of a relationship that you feel uncomfortable in. Definitely, you guys. Okay, keep that in mind. You can get out. Don't ever feel like you're trapped. You're not. You make a decision. When a person rejects you, understand that rejection. Move on. Go do something else. Okay, it hurts. I'm trying to get through it, but I promise you, you can do it. Okay, but we're not talking about that. We want to see success in all the marriages. Okay. So you guys have a great night. Thank you for hanging out with me. I hope I didn't bore you. And bye-bye.